guys, it's M4J here and welcome back to the M4J network here on OpenTTD. Today I am speeding up last week's stream. As you can see, there's no overlays on the screen. I actually managed to get that to work, which is awesome. And there's a couple of other little tweaks and changes that I made here or there that made a massive difference actually to both the quality of the stream and hopefully the quality of this video. Before we get into the video proper, I kind of just want to shout out the last couple of weeks. So I wasn't going to end this series, but I did feel like it had perhaps run its course, and it was just going to be a little passion project that I would do on the side whilst I tried out some new things. However, a few people in the viewer survey, link in the description by the way if you haven't completed that still, a couple of people in the viewer survey were talking about how, you know, OpenTTD is the series they know me for, and that's the one they want to keep watching. And the maths still doesn't quite add up, because the number of people who said they enjoyed the series was less than the number of people who've been watching the series. So I'm not quite sure how that works out still. But one of the things that I did take from that was ideas for how to make this series a bit fresher again. So one of them was this: stream on a Thursday, time-lapse on a Tuesday. There was a couple of people that did ask for more videos during the week, which I think this is a nice balance. 2 episodes a week, even though they're kind of the same thing, I will talk about different things during each video to try and make up for that. Plus, some people don't like hour and a half, 2-hour videos. Some people don't like half-hour time lapses. So it sort of equates out nicely. If you are someone who wants to get involved in the chat, you know, put your ideas forward for what you'd like to see in the network. The best way to do that is to join the streams every Thursday at 5 PM currently, but it might go back to 7 PM because it's cooler in the evenings and it's freaking hot during the days at the moment. So I will keep you posted on that. And you can also get involved on Discord. Again, link is in the description. We're always chatting about rail news and stuff like that. I'm kind of devil's advocate on Discord. Some people don't quite get that sometimes, but you know, someone will post some rail news and I kind of pick it apart, which looks like I'm being a bit of a douchebag, but actually it's more something I learned at uni. Really is you can think you've got the best idea in the world, but if someone can find the faults in it, then there's room for improvement, and that's kind of what I do. It's what I did for my previous company as well, which I still won't name. You know, someone would come up with an idea and I guess they assumed I was just being heavily critical all the time, but really I was just being that person trying to find the faults. And again, if you can find the faults, then it wasn't a good idea to begin with. Right, today's episode we're building 2 lines. The idea was to try and build 3, but I did that thing that I always do. Excuse me, I'm a bit sniffly today as well. I did that thing that I always do where I underestimated how long the new lines were going to be. So out of Fort Flonwood Parkway, the line now turns south rather than immediately turning east. And that is the first line that we build. This is kind of me weighing up the different ideas that we had. This is literally the first bit of the stream sped up. There is some stuff that happened in the stream that I haven't included in this video, so I went through rail news and stuff like that. So if you want to catch up on the stream there, feel free to do so. But yeah, this is the line between Fort Flonwood Parkway and I believe... I'm trying to remember where this connects up to actually. Oh yeah, it connects up to the Charwood line. Just before, I think it's called Rintbourne, the name of the town. I'm trying to remember that off the top of my head. There is a latest version of the map. I'm going to have to try and remember to put the map up on the website, so those of you who want to check out that can do so. Again, the map was not made by me, it was made brilliantly by George. I take no credit whatsoever for the map. So if you want to have a look at that and you know, say good things to the right people, George is the man you need to get in touch with. I think he's doing a Gardcity transport map for me as well, which is going to be awesome when that's done. But yeah, this route that I have here, originally, you know, coming out of Fort Flonwood Parkway and turning east, it never really fitted what I was trying to do here. It was just in a convenient connection. I happened to find the nearest big town where I could connect it up to an existing main line, and that was Bugbourne. Really, this line was always designed to head further south. This is the Gardcity South Western franchise that runs through Fort Flonwood Parkway. So it made sense for it to continue down to the southwest. So I had the choice here of either branching off the Buntbourne line or rebuilding this junction and having the Buntbourne line branch off of this one. And I chose the latter option because I felt like the main line would be the one that continues to the south, and then the branch would be the one that heads off towards Buntbourne, because that's, you know, it's basically how it fits a little bit better. This is one of the hardest junctions I think I've had to build on the network. During the stream, I rebuilt it like 3 times, 4 times because I couldn't get it right. That was mainly me having a brain fart, but it was also couldn't quite get my head around what I was trying to do most of the time, and I'm not really sure why that is, because it seems on paper like a really easy thing to do. Build some bridges, build the lines underneath, jobs are good. But yeah, I struggled for some reason. But it is now done, and it is connected up, and it looks awesome. Happy with that. It's also quite a tight area. You can see I'm doing a little bit of demolition. I had to move the pair of tracks here as well. But it is now done and works, which is good. I always, whenever I build these things now, I always really look forward to seeing trains actually using it. I think it'll be really cool, particularly here. At the moment, this is a single-facing junction. It's only from Fort Flonwood that the 2 lines diverge. In the future, there may be a possibility of having a 2-track junction. You see where the 2 tracks diverge and head towards the loop section of Fort Flonwood Parkway. That there could then form another junction that then turns south and joins up with the line that we're building here. Again, I'm not saying that's going to be happening imminently, but it's something that could potentially happen in the future. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, usual thing. I'm happy with the outcome. I think it looks really cool. These bridges as well, and there's a little station that we build here just before the town of... can't read that. Can't read that, it's too small on my screen. I mentioned it a few times during the stream, so again, if you want to check that out, please feel free to do so. Going back to the streams and the videos, actually, because, you know, even on Reddit, things have been a little bit quiet lately, but for some reason, you guys were really interested in the last 2 videos. So, speeding up the build, which was last week's time-lapse, that got 93 views and 3 likes. But last week's stream, A Maze of New Railway Lines, that got 105 views and 12 likes at the time of me recording this Monday afternoon. So I'm a bit, what's the word? Blown away. I'm a bit blown away actually by the response. I'm really happy with that. So thank you very much to all of you for continuing to watch the series. And again, I don't tend to pay too much attention to the view count because you can always watch a video more than once. But the like count, you can only like a video once on YouTube. So to have that many likes, it means I'm doing something right. And I also want to say a big thanks to everyone who has been sharing the videos on other forums as well, because I know a couple of you guys have been telling me about that. I know George posted on a rail forum recently, and I feel like that's probably the reason why the view count and the like count has risen dramatically over the last couple of weeks. So again, I do not take credit for the work. I think it's mostly the job that you guys have been doing. So massive thank you. It's one of these things where, you know, not to talk too much about mental health as such, but it's one of these things where, as a content creator, particularly I suppose a struggling content creator, which I think is a fair assessment of where I am right now, it is very easy to get down when you look at something that you've spent a lot of time working on and it hasn't quite got the response that you hoped for. And a lot of it is still just not being noticed. I was kind of popular back in the Cities in Motion 2 days, and you know, I'm not going to blow my own trumpet too much, but I know that I was the only real creator making regular content on that game. And the reason I stopped really was the toxicity that I was getting. And I just kind of had this feeling of, do you know what, I don't deserve this, so I stopped making videos on the game. Now, because I took that long break, you lose the interest of those who were only there for that reason. And even now, I've had that this week. I've had someone drop out because I wasn't making videos on the game that they liked anymore. And on the one hand, I can kind of understand that, because if you subscribe to a channel for a specific reason, like if I subscribed to a guy because he made, or girl I should say, because they were making railway videos and then they suddenly started making trampolining videos, I would probably lose a little bit of interest. However, if I liked the channel because of the creator rather than the subject, I would at least give the other videos a go. And I always use that analogy because there's so many games now that I know exist because of other creators. So I'm a big fan of Quill18, for example. And again, I've mentioned this a lot on my channel. No, I've watched Quill for 6 years now, I think. In fact, even longer, because I'm pretty sure I was watching him before I started my channel. And I found him because I wanted to play Railroad Tycoon 3 on my, at the time, new PC. And I couldn't get it to work. So I was on YouTube looking for Railroad Tycoon 3 videos, because I thought if I can't play the game, the least I can do is watch someone else play the game and get some enjoyment from it that way. And I found Quill's channel, and he actually had a little tutorial about how to make the game work as well. So that was the first thing that kind of endeared me to him, as it were. But, you know, I watched him play Railroad Tycoon 3 for a bit. I got a little bit frustrated watching those videos because he didn't quite have the same play style that I would have, which is really where my channel came from, for those of you that don't know that story. I got tired of not finding videos that I wanted to watch, so I thought if I can't find them, why not make them? And that's where I met all you lovely people. So, you know, I'd say that was pretty successful, all things considered. But, yeah, because of Quill, I now know about games like RimWorld and Factorio and Stellaris. And these are all games that I now own. And a few years ago, those games did not interest me in the slightest. I had no intention of playing a game like Stellaris. Whereas now I play it sort of on and off fairly regularly. And even, you know, just finding a creator who they could even be playing a game that I don't particularly enjoy and have no interest in, and yet I'll still find it entertaining because I like the person who's making the videos. And that's really what I want my channel to be, if that makes sense. So I'm not forcing you guys to watch content that you don't necessarily want to watch, but it's that question of, are you here for the game or are you here for the creator? And you know, I'd like it to be a bit of both, but I can understand if it's one or the other. But I'm trying to inject a little bit more humour into my videos for that reason, a little bit more personality. I think it's safe to say when I first started my channel, you know, M4J, Jeffries, whatever it was at the time, was a character that I was playing. But now I feel like I'm a bit more myself, and that's kind of where, you know, the humour and stuff has started to come into it a little bit more. Because I used to be a perfectionist. You know, if I made a mistake in a video, you'd never see that video. Whereas now, if I make a mistake, I just go, oops, and carry on. And that's definitely who I am. You know, I make mistakes and I learn from them pretty quickly. And this series as a whole is kind of a testament to that. I've made mistakes during this series. I've built things that I shouldn't have built, like the Trans Rapid out to Moddingpool Falls. The less said about that, the better. But from that, we now have things like a really good branch of the HLR. We have, you know, a potential new high-speed route out to the west, which may or may not get built in the not too distant future. It's not going to be high speed like the high speed 1 route we've got, but it is going to be high speed in that it's going to probably be the same speed as the western reaches, north and south, maybe a little bit faster. But it's kind of things like that. And if you learn from that and improve like that, then you really have sort of shaken off the perfectionist thing, but at the same time you are still better for it, if that makes sense. Anyway, I'm not going to bend people's ears off talking about me the whole time. So this line here, it was quite an easy one to build, actually. 4-track main line, slow, slow, fast, fast, and then it connects up perfectly to this line here. Now this line continues down towards Charwood, as you know, which currently is sort of the southwest terminus of the GWR franchise. There's only, I think, 2 services currently that are planned to use this on GWR, but it is going to be quite a well-used station on the southwestern and Gardcity South Western. See, I make a mistake, I say something stupid, and I carry on. It is going to be quite a major station on the Gardcity South Western and Southwestern routes, which may result in Charwood having to get a little bit rebuilt, but there we go. This line here, which was the connection between Portfield, which was kind of an interchange where the Western reaches south used to meet up with this line towards Charwood. Yeah, basically, do you know what? I completely forgot what I was going to say then. The line between Portfield and Charwood, that little connecting line, that used to be the 4-track main line, but now it's just a 2-track branch that links the two things together. And again, it's mainly going to be used by Southwestern trains running between, say, Plindon Junction and Sanley or something like that, where it's just a way from getting off of the south leg of the Western Reaches line and onto this line, so it can run through Charwood and down to Sanley that way. Because I did feel like we had too many trains planned for the Western Reaches South that weren't running at the Western Reaches South line speeds. And if you go back to my video last week where I was talking about High Speed 2 and how you can't really have trains getting in each other's way, I kind of wanted to replicate that here, because at the end of the day I try not to be a hypocrite, even if I do come across as one at sometimes. And yeah, I building this route again, you know, the idea is to fill the map now. Now I've got the map, again, thank you George, I can have a good look at what areas have been populated and which areas are a bit empty, and it gives me a good gauge as to where to build future lines. So this was one of those areas. It's a big white block on the map. You've got the line that runs down to Sanley, and that's it. And then you've got the south coast route that runs off towards Plenborough, and there was nothing in between. So all these new routes that I'm building now, some of them will be 4 tracks, some of them will be 2 tracks, some of them might even be 1 track in places. Just have little passing loops along the way, a bit like the Waverley line. The idea is to fill these gaps and make the network in the southwest a little bit more populated. So having this route that runs down to Sanley, a second route basically that runs down to Sanley, it means I can take most traffic off of the Western Reaches South line now and focus that on more express and semi-fast services. Obviously there will still be the local commuter trains running on the slow lines on the Western Reaches South, but they're still, you know, 100-mile-an-hour trains, so it's not going to be holding it up too much. Also, again, going quickly back to High Speed 2, I know we talked last week about, I was talking about 225-mile-an-hour trains. There's kind of a bit of confusion right now about what the speed limit of the line is actually going to be, because I googled it and I got 225 to 250, and the first thing I thought there was, I already know that it's not going to be 250 because I read an article about that recently. So I said 225, and one of the comments was, actually it's only 200 mile an hour running. And I don't think that's wrong. I don't think that's wrong. I think the problem is there's no clarity, because when I was reading another article in my railway magazine this week, it talked about how this will be the first 360 km/h railway in Europe. And if I do my maths quickly, 360 divided by 8 is 45, times 5 is 225 miles per hour. So I don't think we know yet is the problem. I don't think we know yet. It could be 200, it could be 225. If it is 225, I mean 25 miles an hour doesn't sound like much. But when you think the London to Birmingham route, let me try and work that out quickly. Let me get up maps. So I'll work it out on the West Coast main line and do the maths from that. So let's go directions. I think my phone is on silent, so hopefully hopefully you won't hear this. Right. So I've gone from Euston Station to Birmingham New Street Station, which is roughly the area where Curzon Street is going to be. Actually, Moore Street probably would have been a better option. It currently takes 1 hour 33 minutes, and that's running at 125 miles per hour. It also involves walking, I think. Oh no, it's fine. Yeah, 1 hour 33. And that's on an Avanti train. So imagine if the train ran... So first of all, let's halve that time. So assume it's, 250 instead of 225. So 1 hour 33. Let's say that's 1 hour 30. So half of that is 45 minutes. Now you've got to add a little bit extra on. So let's say it's about 50 to 55 minutes. So that's a 225 mile an hour train. If you take 25 miles an hour off that, what I actually wanted here on the maps was the distance in miles, because I could work it out that way, but for some reason it doesn't show me that. Maybe if I choose this. Give me the distance. I can see it on the map, but it just won't tell me the... Oh, here we go. Nope, it won't tell me the distance. Okay, maybe scrap that idea. I'm guessing it's somewhere between 70 and 80 miles between London and Birmingham. I'm guessing. So let's say... Oh God, I can't even do with the round numbers. Anyway, 25 miles an hour makes a big difference, is the point I was going to make. So if you're running at 200 miles an hour, okay, you've got to accelerate and decelerate and things like that. But to get to 200 miles an hour is one thing, to get to 225 is another. And the faster you go, the harder it is to accelerate. So if you've got classic compatible trains that can only do 200 miles an hour, and then you've got these fast trains that can do 225 miles an hour, there will still be issues. So again, it's all about, it goes back to that thing of should high speed 2 be an X or a Y, and for me it should always be a Y. For those of you that don't know, that's the shape of the line. At the moment it's a Y. It runs from London to Birmingham and then splits to Manchester, Newcastle, Edinburgh, Glasgow, although apparently the Edinburgh trains will run via Glasgow, so I guess that works. And the X was to build down towards Bristol and places like that, which I suppose could work if you use it just for high-speed rail. But if you start putting cross-country trains on it, even if they're brand new cross-country trains that can do 200 miles an hour, they still have to be bi-mode trains, which means their acceleration may be hindered by the fact that technically on high-speed 2 they will of course use electric power, but when they're not on high-speed 2 they'll be using diesel power, which then runs through batteries, which means the main power supply will be through batteries, because that's how these trains tend to work. Even if it comes from the diesel generator, it will go through the batteries and then into the motors. So you'll end up with a bottleneck somewhere, a choke point, and that can then again cause issues. Let me stop talking about that for a minute and talk about what's going on the screen here. So this is the new line that I was talking about between Sanley and Charwood. The original plan for the Charwood line was to actually just keep building south until we hit the sea. But then the Sanley line was planned after that, so it's kind of a happy accident that they end up sort of intersecting one another, and that's why we now have this new line here being built. It's a 2-track line. It's mostly going to be used by slow and semi-fast trains running between Sanley and Charwood and beyond. The fact that we can now run trains directly between Sanley and Fort Flonwood Parkway through 2 different main lines is also really cool. We could even run trains up to Fort Flonwood Central, which I think is where more trains will terminate now, sort of in the centre of the city rather than outside it. But to have those connections I think is really cool. And again, it's all about connections. The M4J network, connecting people always. That's a really bad slogan. Should change that. But yeah, this 2-track main line, I don't always like 2-track main lines. One of the biggest headaches I had when I was doing the Great Eastern franchise was the 2 tracks between Winston, Nut Hill City Centre and Wrenston, because at the time all the trains that were coming out of the depot were using that line as well. Now they just use the far western end of that from the new depot site down through Wrenston and beyond, which makes it a little bit easier actually to actually operate with. But yeah, it was a headache. It was a real headache. I hated every second of it trying to get that to work. So I'm going to be a bit more careful here, because again, learning from mistakes. That's what this kind of set of videos is all about, really, is correcting. You know, even things like the Realism Initiative, a lot of it was correcting mistakes that I've made in the past when building these routes. So it's been an interesting experience for sure, but an enjoyable one, which is why one of the reasons why I wanted this series to continue no matter what, was because I always felt like it was a slow burner, let's say. It was a slow burner. But yeah, this 2-track main line. Cross-region trains might use this line in the future as well, although I'm not 100% sure how they would get to Denston from here. So there might be a new... It wouldn't be part of the cross-network franchise, but it would be more of like a... I suppose it could be, because we've got the cross-network, which is the overall umbrella company, and then we've got cross-country, which is the really long-distance services. More of those will be introduced soon as well. In fact, this week's stream might introduce the first couple of those. Now we've got more lines around that they can use. So that's one thing. Then we've got... what else have we got? We've got the cross-region trains, of which there is only one service running at the moment, but again, more can be added. So the route between Denston and Morningpool Falls is the current running service. And then we've got the Northern, Trans-Northern I believe it's called. So there could be potential for a Trans-Southern, which would run down some of these routes. Because we could connect, say we run from Sanley to Fort Flonwood Central, or Fort Flonwood Parkway. You then connect up with the cross-region service that heads down towards Denston or up towards Morningpool Falls. So there is room there. Even if it's not part of cross-network, there could still be a Trans-Southern franchise on the network. Maybe even runs from Pruntford? I can't even remember what the southeastern station is now, but could run all the way across to Sanley via Plenborough. There will be reversing required at Pembroke, but you know, that's not beyond the realms of reality. I'm trying to remember what I was doing here because I stopped building for quite some time. I think I was talking about rail news at this point, and answering some comments in the chat. I do love streaming this game because the chat, you know, coming up with ideas, sharing rail news, it's just little things like that. And actually, it's, you know, this series is a collaborative project as far as I'm concerned. A lot of people would say that this is my thing when they talk about the M4J network, but a lot of the ideas I've had, like recently George Marshall's been talking about adding more heritage railway to the network, which is something that I did have in the back of my mind but kind of forgotten about. So that will be happening in the not too distant future, and again, I can't take no credit for that. That's not a grammatically correct sentence. I can't take any credit for that because it wasn't my idea. So things like that, plus the design of Fort Flonwood Parkway was a collaborative project. The rebuilding of Beffing Way, Nut Hill City Centre, Munfingford Paragon, none of those were my ideas. They were all interpreted from ideas from you guys. And I really enjoy doing that. I really think that's one of the reasons why this series is so unique, because a lot of people suggest ideas and I try my hardest to incorporate as many as possible. Even if it was, you know, naming suggestions back in the day, right the way up to designing new stations. And it kind of ties into Patreon. You know, if you want to be a patron and have your own franchise, you're welcome to do so. It's entirely optional whether you take that as a tier reward or not. But that's one of the things that comes from this is, you know, custom liveries. You get your name in the game, as it were. And you know, you become part of the history of the M4J network, which is something that I would personally take up on if I was given the opportunity. But you know, I'm not an everyday person. I do things I do things like that where other people might not necessarily. But yeah, we are coming towards the end of the video now. As I said, it's been fun doing these on stream, building these lines, because normally it would just be me doing time lapses, listening to some music, thinking about what I'm going to say during this part of the video where I'm recording the audio, and it's not always enjoyable. It's a bit of an isolating experience, so especially during lockdown, that's the last thing I want right now. So to actually get back to streaming, finding a way to make OBS work with streaming and capturing again, although I have had some problems with OBS and capturing over the last couple of days, so hopefully I can fix that before the stream on Thursday. But it's been breathing breathing new life. Why did I struggle to say that sentence? It's been breathing new life into the series again, which I think is always good. Keeps it fresh, keeps it interesting, brings new people in as well. I have seen some new names over the last couple of weeks, which is awesome. And actually going into that, the last thing I wanted to talk about was Discord, because I mentioned it. I have posted a message on Discord, but I'll say it here as well. I heard some people leaving the Discord recently, and when I've asked them why that is, it's been because they didn't feel like they fit in on the Discord server. And that to me is a real issue, because I want everyone to feel like they belong on the server. So if you see someone new, or if you see someone post a message, or if you see someone just chatting in general, start a conversation with them, get to know them, share ideas, share interests. You know, the Discord isn't just for talking to me and posting rail news for me to react to and stuff like that. It's for you guys to talk about your interests, and it's to form that community that this channel was basically built around. So again, if you see someone who's joined the server for the first time, give them a warm welcome. You know, tag people in the chat. If you know someone who's got the same interests as you and they're talking about a particular subject, tag them, have a chat with them, get to know them, all that good stuff. Don't make people feel like they don't belong on the server, because I want as many people as possible on the servers, whether it's Reddit, whether it's Discord, whether it's following me on social media, whether it's taking part in the stream. So please don't isolate people, whether it's intentionally or otherwise. Make them feel welcome, make them feel part of it, and let's try and build the numbers rather than diminish them. But that pretty much is it from me for this episode, so thank you very much for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and of course if you enjoyed the series. The target is 12. Let's try and beat the stream's like count. Try and get it to, maybe not 13, because that's not the luckiest number in the world, but let's try and get it to like 15 likes if we can. 105 people, 15 likes should be very, very easy. And also, if you haven't filled out the viewer survey yet, feel free to do so. I'm waiting for, again, I'm on 12 on there at the moment, and I'm trying to get it up to 100. So if you haven't filled out the viewer survey yet, even if you're brand new to the channel, if this is the first video on the channel that you're watching, don't worry, you still qualified to fill out the viewer survey. If you're a brand new subscriber to the channel as well, you still qualify. So please fill it out. I'm trying to get to 100 people so that I can, get a good average from the data. So that's why I need as many people as possible to fill it out, and it's greatly appreciated. It takes about 5 minutes, but believe me, it'll make a massive difference. Besides all that, drop some comments down below with ideas for future episodes, and check out the Discord and the Reddit. I know some people have been posting on the Discord lately, on Reddit lately, sorry, which is awesome, because I do need more people to post on Reddit as well, because it's kind of a ghost town at the moment. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If you have done so, thank you guys for your continued support, and until next time, I will see you soon.